Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. These podcasts are brought to you in part by our sponsors who really truly are what make these podcasts possible every week. O'Fallon Nutrition is a company that I've worked with for over 15 years. They're independently owned and operated, located here in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway K and Mexico Road. I call this place the Whole Foods of St. Charles County, but even if you are not located on this side of the river, it is still worth the drive. I can remember working all the way down at Powerhouse and still sending people out to O'Fallon Nutrition for their supplements. They are more than a supplement company. You can get grass-fed beef, salad dressing, seasoning for your cooking, hair care products, makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, essential oils, and all the vitamins and minerals that you can think of. If you're looking for clean, whole food nutrition, as well as home care, house care, skincare products, O'Fallon Nutrition is your place. You can take a look at them at o'fallonnutrition.com, or if you'd like to have something shipped, if you're listening to me from outside of St. Louis, you can certainly have items shipped. I know they do free shipping if it's an order over $50, and the phone number is 636-240-5283. Again, it's o'fallonnutrition.com. As well as if preparing your food on a weekly basis is your primary excuse for why you're not able to stay on a good, clean eating program, which is something that I hear very regularly from my clients, I would ask you to please take the time to check out Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com. They are a phenomenal place. We get our food from there during the week. They deliver to our Integrity location. They will deliver to your house. They also are just available for pickup. You can go to their Chesterfield location or their Kirkwood location and just pick up meals for the day, as well as just having them delivered right to your door. So if preparing your food is your main excuse for why you cannot stay on a healthy eating program, then I would suggest just stop by Pure Plates. Just try it. If you're trying to lower your blood pressure, you're trying to lower your cholesterol, you're trying to get your blood sugar down, try to do Pure Plates meals for a week and just see how different you feel. These are organic meals. They are gluten-free. If you need them to be, they can be dairy-free. They are soy-free. You're not taking any processed sugars or meat-curing agents or preservatives. They really, truly believe in nutrient-dense meals that are just whole food nutrition. And I've had my clients, or I've made recommendations for my clients for years at Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, or you can call them to ask questions at 636-778-3555. Again, remembering that they have a location in Chesterfield as well as in Kirkwood that you can just run by and pick up a meal today. Everyone always asks me where I get my meat from, and given that I really eat meat on a daily basis, typically beef primarily, my meat is very important to me. I have an autoimmune condition and I want grain-free, corn-free meat, and I just haven't found the confidence in stores in knowing that I'm getting 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I have searched and searched and searched for the right farm, and I have found the farm. It's fedfromthefarm.com, fed, F-E-D, from thefarm.com. These farmers are amazing. It's a family. They're here in Missouri, and they have the desire, just like I do, to see people well and to see people healthy, and they put a lot into what they do. It's such a wonderful family to support. They do offer 100% grass-finished, grass-fed, meaning that's it. A beef, and I get my ribeyes, I get my ground beef, my ground sirloin, I get my chuck roast. I mean, they basically have everything. They even have awesome jerky, but they also have eggs, they have chickens, and they have turkey. I'm planning on getting a turkey for Thanksgiving, and if you'd like lamb, they have that as well. But if you are in need of good quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or quality eggs, chicken, turkey, don't just settle for what you're getting at the local store. to go out on the internet and check out Fed from the Farm. That you can arrange a pickup or you can have it delivered to your home. And I can guarantee you're going to taste the difference. For me, my health actually depends on it. So I really thank God to have found such a great farmer. Fedfromthefarm.com. I hope it blesses you.
Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. We're so happy to have you tune in with us today. We always start our show off by talking about what it means to be a warrior. If you've not tuned in before, I'd like to give the Webster's Dictionary version of what a warrior is, just to give everybody an idea of how easy it is to actually be a warrior. And the definition is a brave or experienced soldier or fighter. A lot of people may think they're not brave, and obviously if you're not in the military, you're probably not a soldier. But if you've been through a thing or two, then you're going to have experience. And if you've had to overcome something difficult, then you're a fighter. So if you're an experienced fighter, you get to be a warrior. And if you're a warrior, that means whatever life throws at you, you pretty much have the ability to take that on. And I just like to encourage people that when you're going through the hardest thing you've ever faced, the biggest demon you've ever battled, the most horrendous thing that you've had to take on, remember that that's happened before. So at some point in time in your life, just about every time you've ever had a problem, you've probably said, this is the worst thing I've ever had to deal with. This is the worst thing I've ever had to encounter. And you're on to a new thing now, which means you've overcome that last thing. So I challenge you to kind of frame your mind to think you can overcome what you're dealing with. And I like the quote. I don't know who the original author is. It's said all over the place now, but he who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right. So if you're walking around telling yourself you can't do something or it's too difficult, then you're probably going to convince yourself that's true and ultimately end up giving up. And I want to talk a little bit today, just real quick. We've been mentioning our daughter, how well she's doing with things and how excited we are that she's on her nutrition plan. And, you know, we have 50% custody of her. She is from my previous marriage. And we've really struggled to have that household keep Sophie on her food that she requires to be healthy, to be well, to battle the intestinal disease that she's got, as well as some different things she dealt with, parasite and some other things in her gut. And within the last few months, we've really locked that down. And ultimately what it came down to is a conversation that we had with Sophie where we basically told her, like, this is going to have to be a decision of yours. This isn't happening over there. If you were with us 100% of the time, you wouldn't even have to think about it because it would just be your general state that you're in. So you're going to have to grow up in this regard and deal with this as if you were an adult. I mean, some children have to grow up at the age of 4 because they lose both of their parents. This is the only area we need you to grow up in. You got to take your health serious. You got to recognize how you feel. And ultimately, you have to prevent disease in yourself moving forward. And she's really done that, you know. But what I want to talk about today is in her continued search of discipline and becoming the person God's called her to be, Debbie has actually given her a book. And it's a pretty adult book that's written by Andy Frisella. And it talks about discipline and action and moving forward. What is the name of that book, Deb?
The book on mental toughness.
The book on mental toughness. And she's destroying it. I mean, one day, the other day, she read like 60 pages in a day, and she's just really diving into it. So Debbie and I have been considering as a family doing 75 Hard. We've never done it before individually or as a family, but we've been thinking about taking that on. Just because we've been listening to Andy Frisella so much here recently. And we've had clients do it in the past, which is interesting. I've never done it, but I've had clients do it as a hard reset on whatever it is they're dealing with, food, exercise, lethargy, whatever it may be. And Sophie came in yesterday and started telling Debbie about 75 Hard, because I guess in this book, Andy actually details what it is. Well, she didn't know that Debbie and I have actually been considering doing this with her. And it was interesting because, you know, Deb just let her talk, and she went on about what it was and how to do it and how to implement it. And she went as far as to saying, I really think I could do this. You know, I could drink the gallon of water. I could do the 2 workouts a day. I could read the 10 pages. I could do all of the disciplinary things that are in it. She goes, except for Wednesdays. I think I would struggle on Wednesdays because after school I have violin and I have these other things I have to do. So I don't know if I could get 2 workoups in that day.
Group.
She goes to youth group. And that gets her home late. Youth group from church. I mean, a lot of times she's not home till 9:30 or so, and then we got to basically get her fired off and into bed. So why am I telling you all this? Well, this is a 12-year-old, okay, and she has decided to take the steps required to change her life for the better. And I want you to take two things out of that. One, if a 12-year-old can do it, you as an adult can absolutely do it. You have to figure out how bad you want something and ultimately make the decision to change what you have to change to move towards that. And the second thing is, are you leading your children to be the best version of themselves that they can be? Or are you exhibiting and demonstrating something that allows them to think that they can be a lesser version of themselves? Because ultimately, our number one priority as parents is to create a generation that follows us that is better than we are. And so when you think about why you're doing what you're doing, and are you actually taking the time to be the best version of yourself, I challenge you to realize that you are being watched. And they are seeing everything you do, everything you give up on, every dream you don't realize, everything you don't chase. And ultimately, that could lead to them feeling like they don't have to do the same thing.
I think also, like something that I do feel is interesting in the studies, up to, studying 75 hard and like the whole concept behind it and everything, is like you taking ownership of you and you holding yourself accountable, and quit lying to yourself, quit telling yourself you're going to do something and then don't do it. Like I'm on day 5 of it. I've done it for 5 days. And to be completely honest with you, it's not a whole lot different from how I was living every other day, other than I have to do this outdoor workout. And I'll just say that's inconvenient. It's not that I haven't been able to do it, but it's just inconvenient. Sometimes it's dark out and I don't know if I should walk by myself, or sometimes my husband's like, take my machine gun, or and it's just, like it's awkward.
Well, we talk a lot about that, right? We talk about how you have to be uncomfortable where you are to move forward. Well, inconvenience is definitely an uncomfortability. That's
exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's kind of like what Sophie was saying is, I think I could do this. Now, you have to realize my 12-year-old was planning on getting up at 5:30 in the morning and getting her first workout in then. And I can't even tell you how many of my clients come up with reasons why they can't work out 3 times a week for 20 minutes. And my 12-year-old is like, I'll get up at 5:30 and do it because I want to be the best version of myself that I can be. But anyways, the concept of it didn't seem that complicated to me because I already work out 7 days a week. I already do read every day. I already do all these things. I didn't quite drink a gallon of water, but now I am, and all those things. And so it really impressed me that my daughter was willing to go to those great lengths. But then I start to look at the life that I lead in front of her and that my husband leads in front of her. And it's like, well, how couldn't she aspire to be that way? We don't really give her an option. I mean, this is how we live. This is how we function. Right. And that book was sitting on our coffee table. It's sitting right on top of our coffee table. She read the title and she looked at me and said, can I read this book? And I said, yes, but there will be some curse words in it. And I want you to just look past those curse words. I don't want you to repeat those curse words. I want you to just ignore them and understand that that's just his language and that we don't hold judgment on that. That's just the way he speaks, but we don't need to speak that way. And she said, I'll absolutely do that. And that's exactly what she did. And she dove in and she was excited about it. But what she's excited about is she knows there's hope for change in that dynamic. And again, if I go back to when I first started talking, it's setting yourself up to not let yourself down. Quit lying to yourself. If you tell yourself you're going to do something each day, then get up and do it. Don't end the day without doing it. And that's the beauty of that 75 Hard program is you have to check those boxes every single day. No matter what the circumstances, no matter how early you have to get up, no matter how inconvenient it is, no matter how bad the blisters on your ankles hurt, no matter how much you have to wrap them in gauze, no matter how hot it is.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that
no matter
in the next segment.
How cold it is. You just do it. You just find a way to do it. And I think when a person can get to a place to where they can hold themselves accountable. Honestly, I'm a coach. I lead people. I hold people accountable for a living. But you know what my goal is? My goal is to teach people and train people and equip people to hold themselves accountable.
Right.
And I think when people get to that place, literally anything is possible. I mean, anything
Yeah, we want
is
you to
possible.
not need us. I mean, at the end of the day, there's always growth in surrounding yourself with people that are going to help you grow. But
Sure.
that's not what we're doing, is trying to lock you in for life. We're trying to teach you how to do it on your own. And one thing I want to add real quick before we go to break here is, if you're sitting around right now listening to this show and you're thinking to yourself, well, yeah, but your daughter's 12. Like, she doesn't have to work.
She has a lot.
She goes to school.
She has a lot on her plate.
Or you're thinking, yeah, well, you guys do this for a living and she's your daughter. If you're thinking anything like that, you're already failing. It has nothing to do with my daughter has something on her plate. It has everything to do with, why are you already comparing yourself to someone else? You have to make the decision to change for you, not based off of whether or not you think your road is harder than someone else's. That's an excuse, and it's going to hold you back for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. In every area of your life. We can help you with this. I mean, this is what we do for a 6-month nutrition program or personal training. Take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For more information on healthy baked goods from my gluten-free, dairy-free bakery delivered to your door, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass, the only beef that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. We just wrapped up last segment, if you're joining in now, talking about our daughter and discipline, a book she's reading, how she's kind of implementing that into her life, and how you need to do the same thing, quit slacking and get it done. And I want to kind of continue on that topic and ask everybody what their why. What's neat is, like, in our world, your why a lot of times is, why are you wanting to lose 100 pounds? Or why are you wanting to get fit? Or why are you wanting to get shape? Why do you want to get healthy? But I challenge you to think a little bit further than that. Why do you want to live? Like, what, at the end of your life, what is your goal? Is it to say that you worked 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and tried to retire at some point? Is it to have kids? You know, what are you looking to do with those kids? What is your why? And if you can establish, like, most people don't think about that. Most people wake up and they're just like,
It gets me out of
well,
bed every
I
day.
gotta go to work, you know, same old grind, hamster wheel. Ooh, it's Monday. Oh, hump day, Wednesday. Finally, it's Friday. Thank God. Saturday, Sunday. Sunday, we're like, ugh, back to work Monday. What are you doing?
Right.
Like, think about why you're doing that. Why do you need the 9 to 5? Why do you need the money? Who's it for? What are you trying to do with the 9 to 5? Are you trying to go back past that? Do you want to be the manager? Do you want to own the company one day? Like, is the 9 to 5 all you're looking for work? And you have this concept of work-life balance, but you're going to do something with the 9 to 5. That's fine. But what are you doing it for? And I just find so many people don't actually have an idea as to why they're on this earth. They've never soul searched. They've never looked for it. They're looping. I did the same thing. I was in law enforcement. I became a cop because I wanted to help people. I didn't get to help people. By the time the police show up, we're triage. We see people in the worst case scenario that their life can be in. And we're trying to put out the fire and stop people from killing each other, beating each other, doing drugs, you know, whatever it may be. So at the end of the day, like, am I helping a situation to stop? Yes. Am I helping a situation to get better? In 7.5 years of doing it, I could probably name on 2 hands situations I made better. And then about the same, maybe more, of people I put away for a long period of time that the world is a better place without. But it wasn't fulfilling because I wasn't actually accomplishing anything. It took a heart attack, a bankruptcy, a divorce, and a complete midlife crisis, if you want to call it that, in my 20s to determine that I wasn't doing what I was called to do. And I wasn't ultimately making an impact on this world. I wasn't helping people. I wasn't helping me. I wasn't helping my infant daughter. I definitely wasn't helping my spouse. We got divorced. We weren't in a good place. So what am I doing? And I had to find purpose. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't even know where to search for that. Well, it's not about knowing where to search for it. It's about actually sitting down and saying, what do I want out of my life? And what am I doing to obtain it? That's the part people are missing, is even if they figured out what they want, they're not looking into what they need to do to obtain it. The internet is so accessible and full of these guides of how to get from point A to point B in life now. Like, are you looking them up? Are you reading them? Are you listening to a podcast? Debbie listens to podcasts all day long. I want to talk about the discipline, okay? Deb started 75 Hard 5 days ago. She made an incredible mistake of wearing the most stupid tennis shoes and walked 25 minutes up Bryan Road in one direction, and she had to walk 25 minutes back because she was 25 minutes away. She had to throw the shoes away because she bled so much out of her heels that it soaked the entire back of the white shoes. There was no getting it out. They were brand new. They are gone. They are destroyed, and so are her feet. There are holes. I'm not talking about a blister. I'm not talking about some skin rubbed off. There are holes that she's having to patch Band-Aids and gauze onto. Well, guess what? You already heard her say it. She's been at it for 5 days now. The next 4 days, they hurt like hell, and she's going through it. So, like, yeah, it's just her heels. Yeah, it's just a little bit of pain, but, like, what are you not pushing through to obtain what you want to obtain?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm absolutely insane. You know what I mean? And I don't expect
Got to be insane to get things done.
Everyone to be like me, but
if you're not insane, you're part of the normal train, and you're just sitting in the loop that I'm talking about.
Right. I think that's a really good point. Is that you just kind of have to be willing to just like be a little crazy
if
about
they're not
stuff.
Considering you that way, then you're no different than them. And what do I mean by them? I mean people that aren't looking for purpose.
Right. And I think you're just kind of like spinning your wheels. And for me, you know, of course, I mean, would I rather walk back 25 minutes without feeling like, I mean, I definitely felt like I knew I had a blister going, and I'm like, I have no choice. I have to walk back.
I mean, but you did. You could have called me. You could have called a friend. You could have had someone pick you up, but you made the decision.
I just wanted to get my time in because I knew I didn't have any more minutes for the rest of the night to get that 45-minute workout in. But it is a commitment, and I stick to my commitments, and it's just something that's just the way that I live my life. People can trust me, you know, when they hire me, they know that I'll be committed to them. Now, whether they're going to be committed to me is a different story, but I am committed to them, and I will be with them every step of the way. And there, you know, the reality is like what John is saying is just so important because it is truly what gets me out of bed every single day. And sometimes we can have the hardest circumstances. I mean, John and I have been in some of the most challenging circumstances to be able to continue to help people. Like, if you knew the backdrop, which I know a lot of business owners, and thank God I talk to them and they tell me their stories, because otherwise I would think it would be just John and I, and we would feel like complete aliens and like we're the only people that go through these things. But when you talk to other business owners and they tell you their stories and they tell you the things that they've had to go through and they tell you how hard it was and how for 10 years they didn't get paid and just all these things, you're like, oh, okay. Well, if that's everybody else, then I'm not going to give up. I mean, not that I was going to give up anyways, but you just keep trucking. But you also have a vision for why you're doing it. And we have a greater purpose. We have a greater call that goes way beyond making money. So if anyone ever tells you that I'm money hungry, they're nuts, because I don't make a dime most of the time. It's usually my husband that makes all the money, and I just don't even take a check. I don't even take a check.
We haven't paid Debbie in 2 pay periods just to cycle money into the business to try to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. I do that all the time. Right now.
All the time.
People don't know that. They're
because
like, oh, here's these guys
purpose.
Working 150 hours combined a week. They're probably making bank. No, we got trainers making more than we make together.
Well, and it's because of the purpose.
Correct.
What are we serving? We want something bigger. We want something greater. We want a health center. We want healing for people. We want doctors to be involved. We want treatment rooms. We want things that will literally turn someone's life around. And it's okay to not make money for a couple months in order to invest in that. But we see the vision. And so for us, it's like, I tell my employee that writes the checks, don't write me a check again. And she looks at me like, do you want me to start praying? Like, is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah, pray. Definitely pray. I hope the day comes that I get a check. But for right now, it's just what we're investing in. And so what are we doing? We're serving the same vision as a team. We grow that towards that vision. That's our whole purpose. And if you don't have that vision and you don't have that purpose, you're going to be lost every single day. You're not going to have something to serve. And, you know, we really want to inspire you. This is what we do at Integrity. We inspire you. We help you to find that vision. We help you to find that purpose. For more information on what we do, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door from my personal bakery, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only beef that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
Welcome back, everybody. John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. If you've been with us for the first three segments, we appreciate you staying tuned. We've been talking a lot about discipline, something that we are really fired up on, making sure that you actually get your goals. And this is why we get out of bed every day, guys. Like, we stay fired up about it, because if your life can radically change and you can actually enjoy the back end of your life better because we were a part of that, man, like, what a result. What something worth living for. You know, we talked earlier about how Debbie and I will miss paychecks to pour into our business to make sure that the business grows. You know, people think that we're taking home like a paycheck because the gym's open. It's like, no, we take paychecks because of what we service, just like our employees do. And there's times we'll bypass those so that the business can grow as a result and be more fruitful.
And help more people.
That is our pay. So I'm not going to say we go without pay, because we don't. The pay of watching people's lives get to change, that's why we do what we do. Now, of course, I've got to keep the lights on at home, and I got to eat, and eventually I'd like to get a different car. Like, I'm not going to sit here and try to say that I don't want money as well. But what I am going to say is, if you're just chasing money, there's not a whole lot at the end of that road. But if you chase something you really love to do and that you feel called to do, and you monetize it, you'll be the richest you've ever been.
And I think if God is in it and God is honoring it, then there's kingdom purpose in that. And I was listening to the pastor of Element Church this morning, and he was talking about, like, you getting ready to go fishing, because today's a day for fishing. Every day's a day for fishing.
Yes.
We're fishers of men, and we're leading people into the kingdom. And so if your purpose in life, I don't care what the profession is. I mean, two of our closest friends own a technology company, a very successful one, but they're probably the most evangelical people I've ever met.
Right.
And they know some of the biggest, most highest producing people in the country.
And they touch those people, and they touch their employees, and they treat them.
They just invite people to things, and they're like, I don't know if they're a Christian or not, but I went ahead and invited them. I'm like, this is a Christian concert.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is a worship concert.
But we're going to take them.
I didn't know if they were a Christian or not. Really?
Awesome.
But anyways, they're not, you could even say that we have a Christian ministry. We have the cross and the logo. We have the ability to minister. They don't. They're a technology company. They don't have the ability, but they get up every day, and they have kingdom purpose in what they do. And so John is just so on point with this. Like, guys, this is the game-changing ingredient. It really is. It's what will inspire you to want to be healthier, because you will be living for something greater. And what I have determined in my life is that when I'm looking for someone to lead me, or I'm looking for someone to follow, I'm looking for guidance, I'm looking to hire someone. I mean, even if that's a doctor, if that doctor doesn't take care of themselves, if I can tell that they're not disciplined with their food, they're not disciplined with their habits, I can tell they don't exercise, I actually don't want that doctor. And they might be the smartest doctor in town. They might have the edge that no one else has. But the one edge that they don't have is that they're not making a commitment to their own lifestyle and their own health. And so for someone that's going to be my banker, this bank that we met with a couple months ago, this guy has a gym in his house. I mean, you could just tell he's the president of the bank. He makes it a commitment. He has someone come and train him every day at his house. He probably does without some other things to be able to afford that training. Right. It's making him great as he's now the president of the bank.
Right.
I want to work with that guy. He's making it a priority.
Well, you talked about vision, and a lot of people nowadays don't talk about vision. What they talk about is goals.
Right.
I have a goal, or what's my next goal, or, I have a goal to do a show, or I have a goal to lose 20 pounds. And a wise man once said, he said, goals are stepping stones to vision.
Yes.
No, that's not a wise man. I actually said that just now.
That's good.
I just made that up.
That's
right
good.
Here on the spot.
That's
you can
so
quote
good.
me on that if you want to.
Okay.
But make sure you put a TM.
Yeah.
And I get residuals.
Okay, got it. Okay.
But like my point with that is, it truly is the case. People don't chase vision; they lose sight of vision. What happens is goals are more motivating. And so they live in the motivation, but motivation is fleeting. And so once the motivation fails or the goal is accomplished, they meander. And a lot of times they backslide. So if you can get hold of what your vision is and then set goals accordingly in the direction of the vision, they become mile markers. Yeah. And the mile markers don't let you backslide. They continue to help you move forward because you actually have a destination that you're heading for.
Yeah.
And so that's just something that you want to think about is as you're trying to plan where you're going in life, don't let it just be goal to goal to goal to go without an end game, because sometimes goals can go left and sometimes goals can go right, and they can ultimately stop you from moving forward.
Well, we see that all the time. I mean, you have someone that comes in, they want to do a bodybuilding show, and they do the bodybuilding show, and we help them to look amazing. I mean, it's fantastic. But what's the long term? What is your long-term vision? And I have a picture outside my door where there's literally 27 females standing next to me. I coached all of them at one time. Those were all my coaching clients. And they did great. They got pro cards and they won. But the reality is, it is literally such an empty job if they don't turn it into a lifestyle.
Yes.
And so I made a decision. I will never work with another bodybuilder again if they don't have their head on straight in terms of what they're doing after the show. What are you going to do after this show?
Yeah.
I'm not working with you for this show unless you have a plan for what's next after the show, because I'm not going to help you look amazing and have you turn all that around 3 weeks after a show and have it look like you need to go into a weight loss competition because you put so much weight on so fast.
And that's the whole
not
thing
health.
is,
that's not
that's
health.
what some of these people do is bodybuilding as a whole is different now than when you were doing it. And bodybuilding has become goal oriented.
Right.
It's not about vision anymore. It's not about health. Like if you have a vision of health, the bodybuilding competition is simply a presentation of where you are.
Exactly.
Now there's things that you have to do, like you're going to change your water intake and your food will change a little bit. But if you're eating clean and taking your vitamins and minerals and exercising for that overall vision of health, then you're just presenting it. We talk about our trainer all the time. She's a world champion. Well, people are always like, man, I don't understand. How are you better at this show than last time? You just seem to get better and I'm staying in the same place. Well, that's because you take 6 months off. Right. So 6 months off means 6 months forward, you're literally staying in the same place. So if you come out of a show and you're like, oh, I got to eat a jar of peanut butter every day, which we have happened. Deb's had that happen in the past. Yeah, you're going to wreck your metabolism, and now health, which should be the vision, isn't even a consideration. And now you're going to end up ultimately not only wrecking your health, but not moving forward in what the goal was initially either.
And I mean, you're going to have an appendicitis, basically. But anyways, aside from that, I have plenty of clients that have lost 100 pounds. That's their goal, to lose 100 pounds. But then what? They achieve the goal, but then what? What is the lifestyle after the goal? Even Andy Frisella says, what after 75 hard? What's the next step? That's what that mental
he designed a program
book,
for it because he said that people would
hard.
finish it and be done.
Right, and then
he's
they
like, no.
put all the weight back on. You want to create a life plan. So yes, goals really encourage you. They inspire you. They motivate you. But they're just the fuel in the tank. The vision is what's really pulling you down the path.
Goals require motivation,
to see that.
And vision requires discipline.
It requires discipline. That's exactly right. And the reality is the vision is what will make it a lifestyle. The goals will never make it a lifestyle. The goals will basically be hopping from one thing to the next, one thing to the next. You have to have that vision first. That is your foundation. You can be anything that you put your mind to. At the end of the day, if God's called you to something and you commit your mind to it and you commit your heart to it, you'll get there with him. You will accomplish it. And we just want to applaud you for even trying. But if you're struggling and you haven't been trying and you've been giving up and you've been feeling lazy and you've been making excuses, don't do it anymore.
Right.
Today's the day for the change.
If you listen to this show, you're already trying.
You're already
just
thinking
take
you
the
need to
next
try.
step. It doesn't even have to be with us. Like if it's with us, great. We'll go to the trenches with you and we will help you shoulder to shoulder.
Absolutely.
But if it's not with us and you've got a different coach or a friend that coaches or anything that you would rather pursue, just do it.
Yes.
Find someone that's going to go shoulder to shoulder with you. Iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
And without other iron, you are going to dull and rust. So get out there and find someone who can actually help you become who you want to be.
Absolutely. And really keep your standards high. Don't settle. Don't settle for less than the best for yourself. There will be people out there that will sell you programs, and those programs will be, you can have this cheat meal. You can have this. You can have that. Who cares about those ingredients? It all matters. Meet with someone that's not afraid to tell you the truth, someone that has the courage to really speak faith into you and to have high expectations for you. That's what you want out of a coach. For more information on how we coach and what we do at Integrity, take a look at Integrity Training Systems or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door from My Healthy Bakery, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.
Welcome back, everybody. John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. Thank you for staying tuned with us if you've been along for the first two segments, and thanks for tuning in if you have not. I would like to continue talking about the discipline that we've been talking about in the last two segments by pointing out, like, how much time are you putting into your growth? Now, we do nutrition and personal training for a living. It's part of what we do. I was joking with someone the other day because he is a personal trainer as well. He does out-of-home training. And he said that he actually has a collegiate degree in psychology. And I laughed and I'm like, well, that's actually what you need for personal training, because there's this meme and it shows Arnold Schwarzenegger and he's like flexed, pumping up. And it was like what my mom thinks I do. And then it shows him like this guy like stretching this girl and he's like real close up on her. And it's like what my girlfriend thinks I do. And then it shows a guy taking steroids and it's like what my friends think I do. And then it shows this guy sitting with a dude on the couch that's clearly a therapy session. It's like what I actually do.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's part of what we do, but like that's it. Mind, body, spirit. We preach that. Like all three of those, that Trinity. God's a Trinity, we're a Trinity. Like we have to have that. We are a spirit, we have a soul, and we're in a body, and it's like that's what you got to do is you got to look at all three of those things and you got to train all three of those things because your weakest link is going to drag you down. And so with training and nutrition, I challenge people, like we were just talking about on break, someone that needs to do walking 3 times a week, 20 minutes a day. Like you just got to get that done. And if you're not doing that, how much are you missing? And I've talked about these statistics before, but it's been a long time since I've got on these statistics. I want you to just hang with me here. A lot of people in our world think they deserve the weekends off. They deserve the weekends off. They deserve to drink. They deserve to have bad food. They deserve to have their wine, whatever it may be. Okay, they deserve that. Well, first point, I'd like to challenge you to understand that you deserve to be healthy and well, and that it's not at the end of any of those things. Second point, if you're healthy and well Monday through Friday, now I'm actually going to give you Friday, which is a really big give because most people start their weekend Friday night. But I'm going to give you all day Friday. 5 out of 7 is a 71%. Okay. So when you're telling me you're 90% on, but you're just taking the weekends off, you're a liar. You're 71% on. And that's having Saturday and Sunday off. If you're taking Friday half off as well, you're starting to creep a little bit lower than that. Okay. 71% of 365 is 214 days or something similar to that. You can math and say I'm a liar. I have the number pulled up on my phone. That's 100 and something days, 117 days that you're missing out on. Now I want you to think about two things. Every day you miss out on is a day that you step backwards. Okay. So it's not just that you're 71% on, it's actually that you're 29% off and you have 29% to now make up.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, as far as you've gone forward, you've actually fallen backwards because you have to cover the distance of what you've fallen and make up the ground that you've already lost. Okay. That's not even counting if you've had something that's inflammatory or causes your body a histematic response or any kind of health issue. That can take 7 to 14 days to get out of your system or potentially even create a life-lasting disease. Now, let's do another statistic here. Let's say that you eat 3 times a day. That's just because it's a simple number. A lot of times people eat between 3 and 6 times when you include snacks or whatever it may be. But we're going to do 3 because it's easy. But you don't take Saturday and Sunday off. You are on 100%, okay? 2 out of 3 times. You have 1 off meal a day. I really struggle with dinner, or lunch is really hard for me, or I miss breakfast, or I have to grab a sandwich from Quick Trip, or my night snack is off. 1 out of 3 being missed is 33%. That means you're 66% on. Quit telling me you're 90% on. Now, if you're taking Saturday and Sunday off and missing 1 meal throughout the week, you are 70% on, 68% on, 65% on. On a grade scale, you're telling me 90%, which is an A-. You're at a D+. It's time to get real with yourself.
Right.
What are you doing? Right. What are you trying to accomplish? And why are you telling yourself you've got an A- when you have a D+? It's a lie. And it's from the enemy. You're lying to yourself because you're being lied to, and you are not going to get anywhere in life. And I'm talking about food, nutrition, and personal training right now, but this is applicable to anything. Yeah. Well, I worked like 80 hours this week. We had a trainer that used to say that. I write your check, buddy.
You
worked 40.
You worked 100 hours.
100. It was 100 hours. That's right.
Like, I've been doing this for 20 years.
It's like
at the time it was 20 years.
I
never worked 100 hours.
I write your check, buddy. You work 41 hours a week. The rest of the time that you're talking about working is because you're working out yourself. It's because you're trying to do something to be better at your job. I'll give you that. That's not work. That's self-improvement. Okay. The other 50 hours, I don't even know where you're coming up with that. And I sit and I actually schedule 70 hours of clients a week. I'm not talking about working 70 hours a week like I did as a police officer, where occasionally I get to watch Netflix or just drive around the city and, admittedly nap sometimes. I'm not talking about that kind of shift. I'm talking 70 one-on-one conversations with different people, with different goals, with different problems that I have to stay consistently mentally and physically ready for. That's 70. That's not even including the paperwork I do. That's not even including all the other things I do. Well, John, why are you telling me this? You're trying to compare? No, the reason I'm telling you this is I can make an excuse just like you can, but what is that going to get me in life? It's not going to get me anywhere. In fact, what it's going to do is it's going to be detrimental to me. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm just going to be honest. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to talk to people. I don't even really like being around people. I don't want to get out of bed. I'm bipolar. I have extreme depression, chronic anxiety. I've had more concussions than the average football team combined. I have every reason to lay in bed and not get out. But what happens is I have to sit and unwind my negativity and my pissed off inability to start and say, you know what? I got people that need me today. I got to get out of bed. My feet have to hit the floor, because if my feet hit the floor, I can put my clothes on. If I can put my clothes on, I can get in my car. If I can get in my car, I can get to work. And if I can get to work, the first person I'm going to talk to, I'm going to make a difference in their life. And then the other 14 will just come easy because I'm there and I'm doing what I'm called to do. So if you're not living your life like that, like, I'm not telling you to wake up like Debbie where you're smiling. Like, I mean, she does that. She like pops up and she's like, hey. And if you can do that, if you can do that, I'm jealous of you because I wake up angry, but if that's how you wake up, it's not an excuse. You got to get up and actually do what you're called to do. And if you're fighting that off, I challenge you to question yourself why. If you feel like you're constantly under attack, the enemy only attacks the person that they're afraid of. If you don't feel like you're under attack and life's going easy, I challenge you to see if, are you actually even accomplishing anything? Or are you being left alone because you're not a threat? You need to figure out what you're supposed to be doing, and you gotta chase that. And if you're doing a 66%, if you're doing a 71%, if you don't actually know, and you're telling someone that you're 90% on something, growth, your workouts, your walks, your work ethic, your work, your nutrition, write it down and just track it. Like, my Ring tracks how much sleep I get a night. And at the end of 7 days, it says your average sleep is this. Your average calorie burns for the week is this. Write it down. Like, okay, I ate 5 times today. How many of those are right? I ate 6 times the next day. How many of those are right? I did 4 workouts this week and I was supposed to do 6. And at the end of the month, take a tally and be honest with yourself. What % did I get? And are you satisfied with that grade? If you're satisfied with the grade, then okay, I guess stay there. But if you're trying to get somewhere and that grade is not passing, it's time to make some changes.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's I just love it when he talks all the numbers like that, because it's like, wow, that is such a clear, indication that how just some small decisions can really add up to either be something great for you or it can really take away from you.
Before anybody's like, hey, did the math, it wasn't 121 days, it's 106.
Right.
That you're missing out on in your year. So it's 212. That's where I came up with the 12 from, that you're behind.
I think that the point that we need to drive home, and it's like the way we were closing the segment before, is what is that call for you? What is that purpose for you? Maybe you're not in that job right now, okay? But you have a vision for what that job is. Great. Then keep seeing the vision. Keep going to bed every night. My daughter started a journal over the weekend, and she called it her dream journal. And so she has a vision for what she wants her future to look like, what she wants her job to be, what she wants her car to be, what she wants her home to be. She was literally talking about what different cities she wants all of her homes to be. And I was just like, wow, that's amazing. It's not just about things, but it is about opening your mind up enough to believe that those things are possible. And what I want to say, I think this is just so important, that something that has really helped me. If I would have spoke on Warrior today, this would have been my Warrior, concept would have been, focus on solutions, not on the problem. And you might have literally the heaviest problem in the world. And I'm telling you, John and I, we have them. We have crazy heavy problems, but we don't let anybody else know about it. We still just press on. But what I do and the way I get through the day is focusing on solutions, listening to podcasts, learning ways that I can present my data on social media, learning ways that I can reorganize my finances, learning ways that I can coach people differently, learning different programs, reading different books, talking to other professionals. When I talk to other business owners right now, I have clients, I talk to them, they tell me how they're doing. Everybody's flat. Everybody's year has been flat. I haven't talked to anybody that has told me that they're having their highest year yet. Everybody's making goal, but they're barely making goal. A couple of them have been in the red. And so when you talk to other people like that, you're like, this isn't just me. And so what can I do? What solutions can I come up with? When I go to my staff, I always ask them, what problems are we solving for people today? Look at your clients. What problems can you solve for them today? Do you need to help them with plantar fasciitis? Do you need to help them with low back pain? Do you need to encourage them to get up and move? Do you need to make sure that they have a plan for what they're going to eat for the rest of the day? Do you need to encourage them to do nutrition differently? Do you need to encourage them to drink their water? What problems can we solve for them today? So if you really feel like you're struggling, you have this vision of the future. The first thing is you got to create a vision for what you want for your life, even if it seems impossible. Even if you don't have the education yet, even if you don't have the money yet, you have got to see ahead something that you're dreaming of. Even if it doesn't happen until you're 70, this dream that I want, it literally may not happen until I'm 70. I'm 49 years old and it hasn't happened yet, but I'm not going to stop. But it may not happen until I'm 70, but I'm not giving up on it. And I will work it when I'm 70, because if the owner of Kentucky Fried Chicken can do it, I can do it. So the reality is you've got to have the vision first. Without that vision, if it's for your health, if it's for your job, if it's for your relationship, whatever it is, you've got to see it. If you can't see it, you'll never, ever achieve it. All right. Then the next thing is, as you start hitting the speed bumps, as you start having those difficulties, those challenges, the cravings, the desires, or the fatigue or the laziness starts creeping in, or the lies start creeping in, you've got to start looking at solutions instead of the problems. How can I solve this? I've got to get creative. I know I'm overwhelmed by how stressful this is and by how challenging this is. Fight that stress. Fight those challenges with solutions. Read more, listen more, talk to other people, get solutions. It brings hope. It encourages you, and it gets you to a better place. For more information on healthy solutions and ways that we can create a path to a healthier lifestyle for you through nutrition and personal training, take a look at Integrity Training Systems or give us a call at 636-299-2208 for gluten-free, dairy-free, healthy baked goods from my personal bakery delivered to your door, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only beef that the Morris family will eat, and I will say they do also have great chicken, great turkey, and awesome eggs. Take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.